Boy Chicago again in the corner, the handsome liberal coming at you. But this time we're not going to be talking about politics today. I want to run something by you about Gabrielle Petito. It's all over the news, missing woman out of Florida. And as you can see, the video is titled, "I Believe the Cops Got Her Killed." So I'm going to roll this story for you. It's only a minute long, and then I'm going to give you my analysis on that.
On Long Island, a family is pleading for help, finding a woman who disappeared after she took a cross-country trip with her boyfriend. 22-year-old Gabrielle Petito was last seen in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming, but her family hasn't heard from her since the end of last month. News 4's Paisy Chang looking at this story. She's live in Bohemia. Paisy?
Yeah, David, so the family spoke with their lawyer here in Bohemia, and they're sharing this picture, this missing persons poster, all over social media because they say they haven't heard from their daughter since the end of August, and now that they haven't heard from her for this long, they're really starting to worry about her disappearance.
Gabby Petito never goes outside.
It was a cross-country journey captured on video and pictures, posted on social media.
Hello, and good morning.
22-year-old Gabby Petito left her mother's Blue Point, Long Island house on July 2nd with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie. Now Petito is missing.
I just believe she's in danger because she's not in touch with us, and she could be alone somewhere. She could be stranded somewhere in the wilderness.
Petito.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there because that pretty much tells you what you need to know. But I'm going to bring up a real quick slide. Of course, you can. I brought up, nice looking, blonde girl, nothing special there, but just a pretty girl. Now, she went on a cross-country trip, as the video, the newscast showed you there, with her boyfriend. And they're from Florida. And the reason I'm saying that the police... and I'm absolutely certain about this, the way I'm looking at it, that the police could have easily been responsible for this young woman if, and that's I'm saying if, even though I feel fairly confident foul play has happened, but I'm saying if something has happened to her, the police would be responsible for it, or at least partially. This, as you can see, is her boyfriend, Mr. Laundrie there. This is obviously them in better times. Probably along some of their trip across country. They were living in a van. I've done it myself, so it is fun. You're living in a van, traveling across the country, getting to see a lot of the country. But somewhere along the way, they had foul play. Now, I had a news story in here, but I preferred the one that was in there. She's not a big woman, but the story that I'm going to play to you will play into what I'm talking about. So, this is the van they use to travel across country in. Not a very big van, but as I said, like I said, they're not very big people. You see her size. She's, fairly average sized girl, maybe even petite, depending on who you talk to. And he is not much bigger than her, just slightly taller than her, but he's not much bigger than her. Now, this here is a story I took off Fox News. The clarity is not the best, but I was sitting in my vehicle and I heard this as part of this story. This is coming from body cam in Utah. What along the course of their trip across country, the two got into a argument, disagreement, a fight, so to speak, in the state of Utah, and the police were called. And here is the news report from that, with body cam footage included from the police in Utah.
Cam footage from an incident from weeks ago with the couple when cops got involved in a fight between them. A lot of dramatic moments that happened in an hour-long video. National correspondent William Lajeunesse watched all of it, as we all did, trying to get a grasp of this story, William, and it really tells us a lot.
Yeah, so what viewers are about to see, Sandra, is that traffic stop in Utah about 2 weeks before Gabby was last heard from. So it gives you a good sense of who the two of them are and their relationship, following a witness report of a fight between the two. And police say Gabby never stopped crying for the entire hour after police made this stop.
I don't know, it's just, for some reason, I have really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning and straightening up back of the before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD, and sometimes I just get really frustrated, not like mean towards him, I just I guess, my vibe is like I'm really like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed.
So Gabby admits to fighting after Brian tried to lock her out of the van and take the keys. Police noticed multiple scratches on Brian's face.
She just worked out as we were trying to get going and get our day going because we want to go like Archie or something like that. You want to tell me about those scratches on your face? She had cell phone in her hand. That's why I was pushing her away because she wanted me. I locked the keys so I could walk away. So I said, let's just take a breather and let's not go anywhere. Let's just calm down for a minute. She was getting worked up, and then she had her phone and was trying to get the keys. So I got away. I was just trying to. I know I shouldn't push, but I was just trying to push her away. To go, let's just take a minute, step back and breathe, and you see if she got me with her phone.
So how did the fight start? It's bizarre. Brian complained about having dirty feet. Gabby was stressed out about starting a website.
We just had a little disagreement there. And the disagreement was just that she was getting a little worked up, and I was saying, no, it's okay, thank you. It's okay. So it was just more disagreement than that. I just wanted to. What was the disagreement about? It was, I wouldn't even call it disagreement. It was just that I'm dirty and I can't change being dirty.
So still there are inconsistencies. Brian claims Gabby grabbed the steering wheel and caused him to jump the curb. She denies that. The scratches, well, he claims it was the phone. Police say it was her fingernails. Brian admits to shoving Gabby, but police say he also grabbed her face.
I'm fine, and I love Gabby. I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me. I'm just, I feel bad I think it's so public. I was just trying to be loud. She gets some business. I try to make her calm down and be like, look, everyone's watching.
So here's the police version of he said, she said.
Everything she's saying is the same thing. I haven't heard what he said, but that's what he said. It's also what the witness is saying. The witness says, I never saw him hit her. I saw him shove her, but I couldn't tell if it was an aggression against her or a defense against her as far as her, being the aggressor. So at this point, unless the guy's screaming that he needs to go to jail and did something to this girl, it sounds to me like she is the primary aggressor.
So the police decision, instead of an arrest or a citation, they separate the two that night. Brian would stay in a motel, Gabby in the van.
And footage from an incident.
Okay, I just wanted to stop it there. Now, if you notice at the end of the investigation, the cops said it looks like she was the primary aggressor. And this is why I say if something happened to her, the cops are responsible for it. The cops show up to the scene. First, in the earlier clip of the video, and I do apologize for the audio because she was so distraught, the audio's not that good. And what she's saying is I have OCD, and I was apologizing to him for being so mean, and sometimes I flip out and I'm frustrated. Now, that was her side. His side, he's all scratched up, and he told the police it was from something else, and the police determined the scratches on his face are from her fingernails. So she was scratching him in the face. She has no marks on her at all. He's marked up, but trying to lie and say it came from somewhere else. Now, the reason I'm blaming this on the cops is because now she is missing. Like I said in the picture, if you notice, there's not a huge difference in size other than the fact that he's taller than her for certain. But, because he's scratched up, it's pretty clear that she was attacking him. And even the police said that she was the primary aggressor. So why is the police at fault? What should the cops have done? This is clearly a case of domestic violence. She should have been placed under arrest. If she was placed under arrest for domestic violence, instead of allowed to leave on her own, they wouldn't have met again because there would have been a order of protection out against her from being around him. And she would still be alive. She may have spent the weekend in jail, spent the night in jail. Her parents could have came out to Utah or bonded her out and got her out of there. But there would have been an order of protection preventing her from being around him. But now it looks like the police just separated the two. They got back together and potentially some foul play has happened. Now, the reason also I'm saying this is because he has since lawyered up. He is not cooperating with police. He's not telling police anything about this. He went hush and he's hired a lawyer. Now, his lawyer even told him to to not say anything. I didn't play that particular portion of the clip, but his lawyer is quoted as saying, when the police say anything can and will be used against you, that is true, and he has advised his client not to talk. So the reason I'm saying, once again, law enforcement is responsible for this is because of sexism. She's an attractive, small, blonde woman, and because of that, they allow her to attack this guy, and they didn't punish her at all. Had they done what they would have done if this was reversed, if they had showed up to the scene and she had scratches on her face, and he was saying, I got OCD and I sometimes flip out, he's going to jail. He would have went to jail, and that couple would have not been together again for the rest of that trip. One of them would have been calling their parents or bonding out from jail somewhere, and they would have had an order of protection against them so that they could not get together, because that's automatic in cases now. If there's a domestic violence issue, even if one side does not want to press charges, the police often will step in and protect the victim on their own. And they keep them separate until your court date comes up where you got to answer a domestic violence charge. None of that happened in this case. They saw a little small, nice, cute little girl, and they just set her free, even though the police is on video saying it looks like, from our investigation, she's the primary aggressor. So not only do you, and from the witness testimony as well, the witnesses who saw it said that it didn't look like he was hitting her. It looks like he was potentially pushing her away in self-defense. So everything about the police, their own investigation shows that he was attacked by her, and they chose not to do anything about it, even though he clearly has damage to his face. She should have been arrested, and that would have ended all of this. The couple would have been separated, and they wouldn't be looking for their daughter today. She'd have a domestic violence case on her. But now, it's pretty much up to the boyfriend to fill in the blanks wherever he wants. Now, if she turns up dead in the middle of the desert somewhere, how hard would it be for the boyfriend to say, listen, she was violent, she started attacking me, I hit her back, and in the process of the fight, she was killed, and I was afraid that if I came forward and told the police, they would blame me for it and throw me in jail for murder. Clearly, she's violent. Just from the investigation, it shows that she's capable of being violent. So if he said I was defending myself, and she ended up losing her life in this, or we fought and she fell off somewhere, or whatever the case may be, she hit her head and died or whatever, I didn't want to cop to that because I didn't want to risk having you guys throw me in jail for murder. Well, like I said, looking at the investigation, it's pretty clear they ignored a violent woman. That's a huge step, and that's something that the defense attorney for this guy, if she turns up, dead or injured, could say that, listen, I had to do this. And you have it on video. The police are admitting she's violent. So my take is simple. The police should have arrested her, and that would have ended this. Now, love to hear from you guys. Now, just like I said, let's just picture this in reverse. Police are called to the scene. The woman gets scratches all over her face, and the guy's apologizing and saying, I told her I'm sorry for being so mean to you, and I got OCD and I flip out. If a guy is saying that, 100% guaranteed he's going to be thrown in jail for that. And even when you listen to the police at the end of the investigation, he makes it clear if this guy doesn't say something that makes it sound like he attacked the woman, we're going to just leave it at that. So it looks like they showed up to the scene, like cops so often do, to a domestic violence scene, thinking woman good, guy bad. And when they couldn't show that the guy was bad and it looked like the woman was bad, they just left him there. But they made it clear that if they had showed up to the scene and the guy was the one that was the aggressor, they would have threw him in jail. They need to get out of that mindset. So I would like for you to tell me, what do you think? You think that the cops should have done something? You think this is sexism? Or do you think the cops were right in just letting her go? I really believe that if the cops had done their job, this woman would not be missing today. Hopefully she does turn up alive and well. I don't expect that, particularly with the boyfriend not saying anything and immediately lawyering up, hiring a lawyer and going silent, and the lawyer advising him to do that. It's probably something that either he done wrong and wants to hide, or he's in a situation that telling the truth is not going to be in his best interest. And let's face it, if a guy gets into a fight with a woman, and for some reason a woman loses her life during that fight, it's going to be hard to get people to believe the guy. So let me know. Love to hear what you got to say in the comments.